Hi there, I'm Athena Parakis, the founder of Sage Goddess, and I'm here with another little gift, a little offering to you as my way of saying thank you for pre-ordering Crystalpedia, which is my fourth book. It's a really all-inclusive and so beautifully photographed encyclopedia of more than 180 gems and minerals from all over the world. And I've had the fun opportunity through this video to pick one of my favorite sections of the book, which is called Crystal Secrets, the science behind crystal healing, and just do a little private deep dive to share some additional thoughts. I call it taking it off the page, just to give you a little bit more insight. A lot of what people ask me in my role, and I've had Sage Goddess now for 12 years, is, okay, crystals are cool, but like, how do they work? And I'm a scientist by training. I have a PhD. So I'm trained in the scientific method, and I am something of a skeptic and a cynic, believe it or not. I also have had so many of my own rich experiences with physical, emotional, spiritual healing, using and working with and allying and partnering with our crystals on our planet. So I think they are great gifts to us, great treasures, and I think they really have so much to teach us. And I believe that there are more crystals on the planet than we will ever discover in our lifetime. That's what keeps it new and exciting for me. So in the section called Crystal Secrets, which I hope you will turn to when you get your book, you're going to learn about the oldest gem on the planet. The first one ever discovered is zircon, and it was discovered 4.4 billion years ago. It's hard to even wrap our brain around how long ago that was. Zircon was one of the sort of the founding crystals of our planet. And it comes in different colors. I love this really gorgeous red zircon. One of the reasons it's such a powerhouse for manifestation is because it's been here so long. You know, your ancestors lived and died while this crystal was already here. It holds the wisdom of every civilization, every culture, country, and continent. Even in the stages and phases when the world didn't look like it does today, our planet has really shifted and transformed since its origin story. And so zircon, one of our original and most potent crystal allies. Now, the study of crystal healing is called lithotherapy. Litho comes from the Greek lithos for stone, and then therapeia, which is the Greek word for healing. And lithotherapy is legitimate, and I'll tell you why. We've got to get back to basics and understand that crystals are solid matter, and basically they are repeating structures, right? There are atoms inside of each of your crystals that form in these repeating structures, and those specific forms of geometry and the angles within your crystals are what determine its frequency. It's what we call its dominant oscillatory rate. And every crystal has a different frequency, just like every person has a different frequency. Here's what's interesting about crystals, and this is where really, for me, I'll never lose my fascination. Because there's a repeating symmetrical structure inside of every one of your crystals that are different but similar in the sense that they are repeating and they are entirely consistent. That makes them so different from us. Human beings, we don't really have anything repeating consistent inside of us. Each one of our internal body systems has its own dominant oscillatory rate. You have an overarching dominant oscillatory rate. Your frequency goes up, it goes down. Could be just a conversation you have, somebody cuts you off on the freeway, your whole energy shifts, right? Each of your internal body systems has its own regulating way of organizing its own field. And then your body itself has an energy field, what we call the personal dynamic biofield, or the personal energetic field, which is right about 24 inches outside of your body. And that's kind of what we think of as our personal space, right? We say stay at arm's length. That's because that's how wide your energy field is. So the reality is crystals are doing what they do. You don't have to tell them to work or go ready, some kind of like special activation language or anything. They're already doing what they do, which is vibrating at their DOR. And the way they affect you is by being in your space and what we call entrainment. So grounding crystals, because of their specific dominant oscillatory rate, are going to ground you, stabilize you, sometimes slow your frequency down a little bit, which can be helpful if you're at an 11 and you need to be at a 4, right? Super big anxiety, fear, right? Adrenaline rushing. And so the grounding crystals entrain you to a more grounded frequency. The upper chakra crystals, with their specific dominant oscillatory rate, will entrain you to a state of higher consciousness, right? Active psychic awareness. And that's really not just what crystals are, but how they work and how they do what they do. And entrainment is an incredible thing. We actually entrain to each other too. Have you ever been around someone who just made you feel better just by being near them? They were entraining you to their frequency. And have you ever been in a great mood and all of a sudden you're around somebody and it's like, ooh, that went south fast? They're entraining you to that frequency. So we really do have to watch who's around us, what the energy is like, and recognize the intense impact that energy really does have on our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. The other thing I want to mention, so we've talked about the durability of stones, the strength of them, which is the measure of hardness scale, but also the frequency that each crystal holds, and the specific structure, how those atoms inside your crystals are organized. But in addition to that, and we've talked about frequency, right? So durability and frequency. Stones also, under intense pressure, emit an electrical charge, and this is called piezoelectricity. So it is really true. We are electrical beings as human beings, and your crystals have electrical charge to them. So there's a lot of science and physics behind crystal healing that isn't just, oh, if I sit with this long enough and I visualize, myself in a different place, everything will change. There really is so much that we can't see, but we do understand on an atomic and a subatomic level happening in our relationship with crystals that I think has a major impact on our healing and our wellness. And so I want to say cheers to your wellness. I want to say thank you for pre-ordering Crystalpedia when it gets into your hands. I hope that the section called Crystal Secrets will be one of your favorites. And thank you again for your support. We'll see you soon.